We weren't probably pricing it high enough. You know, you might bring in $600, $700, $800 a day, whereas my guys can work a little bit less hours and do a $1,200 or $1,500 landscape cleanup in the same amount of time. So it was nice to have the repetitive cash flow throughout the year, but it wasn't translating into very good man-hour rates. You know, when it's all said and done, counting drive time to shop, and you're operating in the $40-some an hour range, it's just not worth it when you can go sell hardscape jobs for twice that much.
Right.
So the nice thing about project work is you can move it around. Whether your schedule changes, you know, personally or inside the business with weather, you don't have to make sure you're back at, you know, Mr. Jones's house on Monday to mow the lawn you couldn't do on Friday.
Right.
There's not been a problem with work dropping off and in that summertime being super slow. We can't get the guys work. We've been able to stay busy.
No, cash flow.
Not at all.
You probably made up for it, if not more.
Oh yeah, that's why we're probably one of the reasons I'm not delegating man hours to a lower paying task. Yeah, I mean, this will end up being our best year yet. It's our first year with SynkedUP, so it's been a good switch.
Okay, welcome back to another show of the Cost of Doing Business podcast. I'm Weston Zimmerman, your host, founder of SynkedUP, and I'm out here on the job site actually with Philip Hatfield out here in Ohio. So we're getting our boots dirty. I'm getting my sneakers dirty. You're getting your boots dirty. So,
putting them to the test.
Yeah, it's good to be here, Philip. Thanks for
appreciate stopping out.
Let me crash your job site.
Well, it's good to have you.
So why don't you introduce yourself? Tell us who Philip Hatfield and SynkedUP is.
Yeah, so Philip with SynkedUP Landscape and Design. We're a design, build, maintenance, landscape contracting company. So pavers, patios, walls, as you can see back here, and more project-based maintenance. So one-time cleanup, small changes.
Right.
Yeah. So we got out of the lawn mowing game this year, and it's been full steam ahead with projects. So it's been a good year.
Any regrets?
No, SynkedUP's been good for us. The switch has been good.
That's awesome.
No, I mean mowing it wasn't cutting it for us.
Yeah.
So it's a heavily competitive game, and we're able to create our niche doing more project-based design build work.
Plus,
it's been good.
So awesome. Like when you can stand back and look at a job like this, you know.
Yeah, and there's less competitors in this field here. So.
And I think you can draw yourself like a bit more differentiation. Like you kind of develop your own style as an artist.
Yeah.
You know.
Just like water features for you, same type of thing.
Yeah.
So.
Exactly. How long ago did you start SynkedUP?
2016. So this is our 7th season.
That's the same year as Jeremy.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I just did a podcast with him earlier today. I was just down there.
Yeah.
So.
We bought his excavator.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Is it
so
here?
No, it's back at the shop. So I got to meet Jeremy earlier this year.
Nice.
So yeah, keeping it running in the landscape community.
So yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So when you started in 2016, was it a part-time gig for you, or
it was full time. It was a small amount of revenue that year, but it was full time for me. We didn't hire our first person until 2017.
Okay.
And now we're running with one full-time person and 3 to 4 summer helpers. Then we have a couple office people.
Okay.
So my wife works in the business as well.
Okay.
So
does she do anything else?
She works. Oh no, she's full time. So she goes on some like more maintenance estimates, smaller cleanups, does some marketing, office type work. Working on getting our hardscape trailer logoed right now. So she's kind of taking on that, and then she'll work in the field once we have smaller number of employees in the spring and the fall. She'll spend a little time doing that. So
that's pretty cool. That's pretty involved.
Yeah, it's it's a learning experience.
I don't know how many. I don't know. Like it's pretty common where there's a husband and wife team, but usually not out in the field.
No. Yeah. So it's good. It's been a good transition. So.
Yeah. You have any kids?
No, not yet. We just got married last year.
Oh, okay.
So not even a year yet.
Oh wow! I didn't even realize.
About 9 months, I think.
Well, congrats.
So she's in her first landscape season.
There you go. Train her up right.
Yeah, that's right.
Do you have a handbook for her?
We do have a handbook. I'm not sure if she signed it though. We'll have to talk to the office about that.
I'm just messing with you. What would you say has been a significant milestone, maybe a challenge or a difficulty that stands out to you when you look back over starting your business?
Yeah, I mean, just reaching to be able to do the projects we are. Like, we never would have been doing the project like that's behind us right now. You know, big natural stone boulders when we started the business. Like, it was such small type work. I can credit some of the companies I worked before. You know, changing the mindset, working at a bigger company down the Dayton area before kind of helped me build a mindset and artistry to be able to do projects like this now. So that was a background to where we're at now. But as far as milestones, and SynkedUP's been key this year, and as far as like the budgeting tool is really important, just to be able to kind of target what numbers you want to be hitting.
Yeah.
And making sure that you're charging enough. you know, to be able to recoup all the costs. There's a lot of hidden costs that you don't always, if you're just winging it, you don't always realize.
Yeah,
So.
there's nothing more liberating than finally knowing the truth about your numbers, about your budget. Like, and oftentimes, like, if you are building a budget, or you're saying, hey, I'm going to shoot for 20% profit, and then you come in at the end of the year and there's only 8 or 10%, like 9 times out of 10, somewhere there's overhead expenses that you didn't account for.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, you don't always get everything in the budget, which is, you need some flexibility. But game changer is often overused, but having a software to be able to back up what you're doing in the field is super important, because otherwise you're flying by the seat of your pants.
Yeah.
So you need some type of software, and even design software is important.
Yeah.
Software in the industry has just become super important these days.
I think it's the like, if you leverage technology, aka software, it's all about being efficient. You know, because you can. I mean, look at the machines we're using. We're not using wheelbarrows and mules anymore, you know? So it's the same thing. Like, you're just taking the abilities of the day, which is technology and software and apps, and you can, what that translates to is getting a quote out to a customer quicker.
Yep.
Making sure the price on that quote is actually what you need to be profitable. Tracking those hours to be like, well, we bid 150, why did it take 180, you know?
Yeah.
So, like, it's all about just, at the end of the day, being more efficient with maybe less guys, you know?
Yeah, and that's what we've been able to do, because we have a small workforce.
Yeah.
So, you know, being able to set, you know, what we want to charge an hour, and then a goal for our sales for the year, and being able to work towards that throughout the year. You know, the right projects have to come along.
Yeah.
That's important too when you're a project-based company. But if you do good work, you know, word of mouth will back you up. So
100%. Sometimes I help people build a budget, and they're like, oh, I can never sell. And then we run an estimate through. And something that maybe that used to be $20,000 patio in their normal way of estimating now is 28.
Yeah.
You know, and they're like, oh, I can never do that. And truth is like, well, you have to.
You can't not
either
do
that
it.
or sell the machine, or, you know.
You might as well stay at home.
Yeah.
Versus lose money.
And what you said, which is reminding me about this, is like, sometimes we're selling to the wrong clientele, and sometimes you just need to realize, like, hey, they want what I have, but they can't afford it, and I can't let that head trash me. You know, and go out there and find the people that actually can afford what you want, and charge 30 for it instead of 28. You know, and they'll still be thrilled. You know, that's the clientele you want to work for.
And too often as blue collar workers, we have the mindset of we would never pay anyone this much money to do what we're doing, because we would do it ourselves. So you have to put that mindset aside and realize that they're paying you because they don't have the time, knowledge, or desire to do what you're doing.
Exactly.
So, you know, you have to still build value into it for them, but that's how you create those projects, and that dollar amount that you need to be operating in is providing something that they can't get anywhere else.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, in some cases, the guy that's buying it might be like, hey, I want you to be profitable. Like, charge what you need to charge. I just want you to do it. Like, I'm not going to do it. I don't have the equipment or the know-how. So, like, the good clients aren't worried about negotiating you down to your last nickel. They're more worried about just, I just want a good quality job done. I don't want any, like, nickel and diming at the end and that kind of thing.
Yeah, and it's not always going to be the cheapest person that gets the job.
No.
And you don't want to be the cheapest person getting the job.
No.
So otherwise, you're not going to be able to replace your equipment in 5 years when it breaks down.
If you're stuck in that rut where you're the cheapest guy, you're winning the work, but you're the cheapest guy, like, that's a stressful place to be.
Well, you won't build a lasting company.
No.
You might win now and stay super busy, but in 5 years, as inflation goes up, cost of skid steers go up $10,000. You know, it's going to be hard to maintain a high-level company.
Exactly. So tell me about this project that we're on here. I know you got this, like, beautiful natural stone wall in.
Yeah, about 70 tons of natural stone set in about 3 days. So it's quite the about three semi loads of natural stone from out of Canada, I believe, and turned out nice. Matches the house very well. This is kind of phase 1 of the project. We'll be putting in a lot of hardscape next year.
Oh, you're not doing that this year?
No, I think it's going to be probably next March, I'd say.
So how long is the wall?
It's about 100 from end to end. It steps up as it comes. It's about 125 foot.
And it's 3 courses of, like, roughly 11.
Yeah, about 11 inch. Yeah, it's about 34, 35 inch wall.
Yeah.
So.
And how many man hours did you bid it for?
I think we have 135 on site plus drive time and unloading time, so about 160.
Okay.
So I'd say we'll come in right about that. We'll have some backfill and tidy up next week to do, but
Yeah.
we'll come in right about on hours, I think.
So it was a good bid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it was very good. It turned
Yeah.
out really well for us and came in under material quoted. So
What was the biggest job you did this year?
this will be the largest
This one will?
project total one we've done this year. Yeah.
With the work that you're also doing, like all together.
No,
like
just
landscape.
even just
Oh,
this,
even
because
just
we're
this.
landscaping the front of the house and putting in landscape lighting.
Oh, so there's
Shout
more
out to
it.
Green Foundry.
No, yeah.
Those guys are those guys are awesome.
Yeah.
John. So yeah, we have the front of the house to light up and put in landscape installation. So
Yeah. What is the like your bread and butter, like perfect job that what's the
patios, hardscapes.
Yeah. How big?
Most of our stuff's probably, I would say, averages 300 to 400 square foot. So
Okay.
not huge. You know, we just did one recently. It's maybe 18 by 24
Like 15 to 20
with seat walls. So that one was about 30,000.
30,
Lighting. Yeah. So that's where that was where I would love to be doing. You know, turning over two-week patios, and then mix that in with plantings. I mean, I'd like to round off the patio if possible and turn it into a complete outdoor living space with lighting and plantings.
Do you do fire features?
A little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. A little bit of water feature work, more not as many natural, some bubbling rocks. Yeah, some bubbling rocks, some spillways out of walls. But landscape lighting is a great value add.
It is, and it's an easy upsell.
And I don't think it's not, we haven't done as good a job in our industry as professionals of educating the clients, because I don't think the clients view it as a necessity or what it will bring to their project. Like we had a project earlier this year, outdoor unilock patio, like one of the higher end unilock pavers, and then we were able to sell them lighting. The client thanked us later, you know, was glad they went that extra step to put that lighting in. Might be $3,500 upsell, right? But then the amount of value you gain as a client by being able to stay outside multiple hours every night to enjoy your project. So yeah, it just makes that like a room in the house. It just finishes the outdoor living space. So.
I agree. When I was working as a crew foreman at Tessie, like I'd always be trying to upsell, like add some lighting. Like,
it's easy to install. Anyone can do it.
Yeah, and we kept kind of some fixtures in inventory at the shop, so it was super easy to just like day before the last day of the job, you know, sell them $3,000 worth of lighting and bring it all along the next day and put it all in.
We need to upsell lighting on this job, right up here on these boulders.
Yeah,
it'll look awesome. Nice. Yeah. No, but it's a great. We've done more of it this year, and when you're working with professional companies like Green Foundry who help you design projects, that's important. Yeah. You know. Because they're like, just like you work with your paver sales rep, answer your questions, having a lighting rep like that who specializes in lighting is important. It's been important for us this year.
Yeah, no, that's good. And they ship to you?
Yeah, they ship to us. And we, before we had bought them from, you know, a different company, my paver dealer, another company elsewhere. And it's like, you're finally dealing with someone who that's what they do, right? And so they can specialize, help you design projects, answer questions, troubleshoot.
So talk a little bit about like giving up your mowing route. I know there's lots of people out there that kind of wonder if they should have the mowing or if they should offload it. Like, what's your experience?
We weren't probably pricing it high enough, and we had a little bit smaller mowers, just a 52-inch Toro Grandstand, but it was just taking, you know, you might bring in $600, $700, $800 a day. It just, whereas my guys can work a little bit less hours and do a $1,200 or $1,500 landscape cleanup in the same amount of time. So for us, it just wasn't worth it. It was nice to have the repetitive cash flow throughout the year, but it wasn't translating into very good man-hour rates. They were just too low.
You couldn't, like the production.
Yeah, when you're operating and, you know, when it's all said and done, counting drive time to shop and you're operating in the $40-some an hour range, it's just not worth it when you can go sell hardscape jobs for twice that much.
Right.
So
what about like just the logistics or the stress of the business? Like has it changed much?
As far as not having a mowing, and the nice thing about project work is you can move it around.
Yeah.
Whether your schedule changes, you know, personally or inside the business with weather, you don't have to make sure you're back at, you know, Mr. Jones's house on Monday to mow the lawn you couldn't do on Friday.
Right.
So it just allows you more flexibility in the business.
Gives you a little more freedom.
So, and we haven't had any kind of trouble cash flowing the business since letting go. I mean, the work's been there. We're a relatively young company, so you're still gaining market share, but there's not been a problem with work dropping off and in that summertime being super slow. We can't get the guys work. We've been able to stay busy.
No, cash flow. In
not
fact,
at all.
You probably made up for it, if not more.
Oh yeah, that's why we're probably, one of the reasons I'm not delegating man hours to a lower paying task. So by getting rid of that lower paying service, we've been able to up our total sales for the year.
That's awesome.
So yeah, I mean, this will end up being our best year yet.
Good. Well, congrats.
Where we're trying. Thank you. It's been good. It's our first year with SynkedUP, so it's been a good switch. Just having the ability to send clients a proposal that they can digitally, because before I'd have to save it as a PDF and then ship it out. And then you might forget to ship it out with it, and then just have something as simple as that, and then being able to get a down payment right off that's been nice.
Yeah.
Just little things like that streamline what you're already doing every day and just makes your job on the back end easier.
Yeah. Yeah. If you were to go back to like when you started your business, would you do anything different?
We implemented software. I don't know if I would have done it sooner, just because of how small we were off.
Yeah.
I would have liked to have done more project-based work probably earlier. We weren't just lawn care early, and we were a full service, I would say. Probably would have grown it quicker. We just kind of took it, which it helped. I mean, we stayed until this season. We were debt-free, not the whole time, but going into this year, we bought an excavator and a crew maintenance crew truck. So we have some, debt on that now. But that's the nice thing about going slow, is you can kind of cash flow the business. You don't get bogged down in trying to ramp up too quickly.
Yeah.
But if I could go back and do it all over again, I'm happy with where it's at now. We've built a solid client base and doing, projects we like, hardscape design build projects. But other than that, I mean, just making sure you're communicating well with your clients is important. I mean, we all get so busy during the grind of the season. It's just making sure it never hurts to over communicate, and that's still something that I have to work on, just to let them know you're going to be there, you're not going to be there, when we're starting, when we're finishing. We won't be here Monday because of the rain, just all those kind of things. So they always, because even working with some subcontractors on this project, it sounds like they'll be here a certain day and then they don't show, and it's like, you don't want to be that kind of contractor. By always communicating with the client, building good word of mouth, rapport with them, you're going to have good referrals. You're going to be able to charge more because you say what you're going to, you do what you say you're going to do. So.
Is there anything you'd say specifically to the people that in their first year or two of business, kind of like where you were 4 or 5 years
Just keep
ago?
grinding.
Yeah.
It's a journey, man. I wouldn't change it for anything, but it's a lot. It takes a lot of work. Just be prepared to put the work in. I would, get it, even if it's a ditch witch, just as the industry is moving heavily towards equipment. So the sooner you can start getting into equipment, you'll be able to produce more work. So that's one, like we bought the ditch witch. I would never start another company without it.
Yeah, they're awesome.
So I think something like that, the quicker you can mechanize your business, the better off you'll be. Yeah. And it saves you.
Absolutely.
You're able to produce more work, and it's less stressful on your body.
I agree. Like I remember back in the day, we'd build fish ponds, koi ponds in one day, like these 8 by 11 or 11 by 16 with an 8-foot stream in one day, and we'd do it with very little equipment, sometimes none. And I mean, sure, you could do it, but you were slaughtered.
Your lifespan is going to be limited.
So there's no way you're going to do that for 30 years or 25 years. But now, like, every job has either a mini skid or a regular skid. Every job has a mini excavator. Everything's palletized, comes in on trucks and flatbeds. And you could do that even if you're 50-some years old, because you're not beating your body up.
No, and I think another key thing is just to build relationships with other, with your vendors, with guys like SynkedUP who can help you improve your profitability. But working with good vendors, I mean, if you pay your bills on time and ahead of time, then they're going to refer you for work.
That's actually a really good point. Because I think unfortunately, this industry is kind of plagued with the reputation they don't pay their bills. I don't know. I just have some friends that are in the landscape supply, and it's a constant battle.
Yeah, well, part of that comes, you need to be, getting 25-30% up front on your job so that you can before you even set foot on site, so then you can pay your vendors when that material bill comes in.
Exactly, especially in this day and age with COVID, the COVID supply chain, I should say, where pricing, it's a little leveling out, maybe a little more, but where it's so volatile. Like when you, I know what we were doing is as soon as that job was sold, we would immediately place the order for those materials so it locks that pricing in, so you don't come in and it's 40% more now, when you're actually going to do the job 4 months later.
Yeah, I mean, some paver materials have went up 7, 8, 15% just this year alone. Yeah. So just staying on top of that and working heavily with your vendors is important.
And so what we were doing is we were getting enough of money as a down payment to buy the materials. And that way you locked your, you could pay your vendor, you locked your price in, it wasn't going to change. And it was just, I'm just saying, I agree with your point that you need to charge enough on your down payment to cover your materials.
Yeah, and through SynkedUP, we can adjust that, you know, whatever that number is, whether you want to put it at 50% if it's a small $3,000 job, or on a job like this, you might have 4 or 5 draws.
Yeah.
You know, a larger job.
Do you know, we just delivered the feature where you can do multiple draws on the proposal.
Oh, I did not know that.
We just shipped it last week.
That's nice.
Yeah.
It'll beat the typing it all out into the body of the terms and conditions and then figuring out the math.
Yeah, it's all automatic now.
No, you have to get your money up front because I don't have a lot of horror stories about being stiffed on projects, thank goodness.
Yeah.
But the last thing you want to do is be held responsible for all the materials. It's one thing if, you know, you lose out on some labor dollars. We never want that to happen. But if you can avoid having to cover the materials yourself, you know, the client needs to be paying for those up front. By the time your first day on job, you should be getting close to 50% of the project. So just learning stuff like that's been important to be able to grow as in business.
Yeah. Let's close it off with what's been a good piece of advice that you've been given.
I mean, something I've heard recently is know your worth. You know, and that's still, I mean, I struggle with the scarcity mindset at times, I think, but it's something to grow in this industry and to grow in business in general and to keep pushing forward, to build something for my family, my employees. You have to know that you can be comfortable charging what you need to make. And not just, you know, whether it's the customer's budget you're dealing with, whether you're shorting man hours, you have to be comfortable charging what you need to make on that job. And then if you can't, then walk away from it versus making it work for what the client's willing to spend. So it's better off to go, you know, take a Friday off, take a couple of days off than to be working and not getting paid. So we don't have enough time in this life to be paying for landscape jobs to be going into the ground for other people. So
I agree. It's just better to go chase the next lead or take the day off as opposed to just busting your tail and still not.
And we're not to the point I want to be. You know, we got to get better at tracking our materials. We've talked about this. Materials are something you can, you know, usually pinpoint and get man hours or something. It takes time to get production rates built in and figure out.
You get overnight,
but even by, you know, if you get 20% better in a year, if you're missing it by 20 hours and you can shave 20% of that off, that's 4 more labor hours you put back into the company. So it's important to be able to charge, and we need to bring that level of, you know, quality up in the industry. I mean, the quality's there, but as far as oftentimes landscapers are viewed as the bottom feeders in the service industry.
And there's a lot of starving artists, amazing craftsmen, artists, but can't charge for
and you just have to walk away if you can't make what you need to. Instead of doing the work to stay busy, you just need to move on to another project. So that's what I would pass on to someone that's just starting. And do what you love. If that's lawn care, if that's your passion, do it, because you'll enjoy this way more if you're doing
profitable.
But follow your passion. If it's water features, you know, attack that. Just don't and the hardscapes have maybe become the place that's really cool to do. But if you can make money and your passion's to mow grass, then go do it. Right? I mean, price it right and turn down jobs that don't match that pricing, and you'll be successful.
It's not like lawn care can't be profitable.
No.
It's just that you gotta. People tend to not bid it as it should be, and then it becomes a kind of a break-even thing. And
it's a business of scale too. It's going to be hard to just go out there. If you're driving all over the county and you're one-man show, it's going to be harder to make a good living. But you can do it, and we need people to do it, so the demand's not going to go away. Just follow your passion.
Well, thanks for
thanks for
being a part
stopping.
of the SynkedUP crew.
No, it's been good.
I appreciate your support, and it's an honor to be a small part of your story here.
Yeah, no, you guys are part of the backbone that helps run the company. So
thank you.
Yeah, well, we appreciate it.
Yeah, you bet. So, we'll be seeing you again at the H&A, right?
Yeah, looking forward to it. I'll stop by the booth.
All right, see ya.
Yeah, see you later.